Okay, good afternoon. My name is Frank Franken. As you can see, I'm Vice President at the company Eagle Filters, based in Finland. By the way, we are just neighboring one of the factories of Ahlström-Munksjö in Kotka in Finland. In China, we are represented by Melchers Tech Export, a German company who is our permanent representation in the People's Republic of China. Okay, Eagle Filters, like I said, it's a Finnish company. Already more than 20 years, almost 25 years, we are operating in the gas turbine industry. We focus on that, and we focus on the efficiency of the power plants. In that way, because we work for the gas turbine industry, we can also develop our research and development ourselves, but we also cooperate with research institutes. One of the most important is the VTT Institute, of which we have almost weekly contacts for our research and development. Yes, we have several hundreds of deliveries to power stations every year, and we can produce about 300,000 filters per year. We have several plans and corporations to produce those filters in Finland, in Estonia, in Portugal, but also in the United States, in Egypt. And depending on where the market is, we establish production sites also in those countries. So what we try to do, as I said, we try to focus on offering services to the power stations, to our customers, by improving the performance of their GT, by treating the air in a correct way. That delivers a higher output, fuel economy at the same time, CO2 economy as it is connected to the fuel, and the availability of the plant will improve. Then, next to filtration, which also offers less maintenance cost, next to filtration we also have a power augmentation system. It's hot-wet compression. It's wet compression, but we use hot pressurized water to cool the intake air, and that delivers between 10 and 15% more of output. The name of that system we call is OptiFlash, and it's developed by our sister company, Baltec. It's an Australian company, also specialized in air intake and exhaust of air, and also the representative of Baltec is present at this Congress, and we also have that information in our booth. So I won't talk about that OptiFlash now, but if you would like to get to know more about how to cool air with hot water and get 10% or more output, please come to our booth. There is information in paper, but also persons can help you with that. Okay, and now I'm going to tell you something you know already. Fouling of your compressor will make performance losses. In the graph you see next to me, it's one of the OEMs offered this graph to their customers when commissioning a power plant. And the OEMs admit that there are performance losses due to the air filtration. And then the solutions they offer are often online washing, offline washing, overhaul. You can see the light blue line. The light blue line here is the online washing, this is the offline washing, and this, it was red on my screen, but it turned more dark. That is the overhaul. And the losses increase all the time. Even after a long overhaul, you'll see you still have a non-recoverable degradation. Of course, it doesn't have to be like this. Yes, it can borrow those losses, these ones, and also these ones, can brought to a minimum by using high efficiency filtration. And that means using the right materials, and in that way we implement what Mr. Costa of Ahlström-Munksjö already has been saying, but also by using those materials and using those filters in the right way. So by implementing HEPA filtration, you can protect the performance of your GT. On the other hand, implementation must be done in the right way. And I want to focus on a few elements which occur if it isn't done in the right way, and that is early blocking and leaching of filters, an effect what is not so often talked about, but what has a big effect on the efficiency of your GT, so leaching. And the second is the capacity of the filters for the particle burden. First, maybe talk about leaching and the early fogging. And it is related to humidity, rain and humidity. That's the main issue. And a lot of materials suffer from that humidity. Mr. Costa, I see him saying yes, yes. Nanomedia based on cellulose are very sensitive to humidity. But also PTFE membranes and glass fibers are very sensitive to high humidity. So, what will happen with those things? The pleats will deform, and you can see it on the pictures. It's a filter from our competitors with one of the nanomedia, as they are called. Above, you see the new version. Below, it's a version that only has been running for 2,000 hours. You can see already in the top picture, the pleats are still open, though I have to say that the pleats are not sharp. They are already quite broken, so it's not the best pleating what is applied, but okay, there is still quite some space for the air to flow. In the picture below, you see that after humidity, drying, there is deformation in that media. Because of the airflow and the differential pressure over the filter, you get very little space for the air to flow. So your differential pressure will rise, and that is a serious problem. On the other hand, that media, because it's sensitive to humidity, it will get weaker. Yes, and the weakening of the material causes leaching. And that means that water will penetrate through the media, but not only water, the water will also take the dust and the fouling that is present in the media with it through the filter. And that, of course, will foul your compressor. And that leaching is not always as easy to see as it would seem, especially in F-class filters, F8, F9. It is difficult to detect because there is a combination going on of lower efficiency of your filter, so there is fouling going to your compressor, and at the same time, leaching is happening if you don't have the right material, and that leaching also fouls your compressor. So you have a combined effect of fouling. For E-level filters, E10, E11, E12, that leaching can happen suddenly. And that's the graph you see on the top. This is the trajectory what you would expect in efficiency. During rainy season, this filter was losing efficiency. And then there came one moment, a very foggy moment, that it dropped dramatically, the efficiency. And then they did an online washing and it recovered, but still it was very much going down. So there was really a problem of fouling because we shouldn't have been here, we should have been there. So with using not appropriate media in a very wet circumstance, also this type of filter this E efficiency level of filter suffered a lot and did foul the compressor. Yes, and especially with E level filters, salt is an extra burden for the media. Because salt are very fine particles, they mostly get attached to the EPA level filter, and there they are combined with other particles. Those salt particles, like salt is, they attract the humidity, the water, and they crystallize, and they expand to at least five times their size. But at that moment they are inside the media, so they expand the media. They take the dust with them, and due to the airflow over the filters, there will be much more fouling going to your compressor than you would expect with an EPA level of filter. And from our experience, we know, and we can confirm what was said beforehand, that waterproof coatings alone, for nanomedia for instance, or for PTFE, is mostly not enough to resist this kind of humidity problems. Only a high tensile strength filter can do that. In the graph you see next to it, you can see here the Newton per meter of pressure. We can see here the standard fiberglass, the treated fiberglass, and then high tensile strength media, what we use. And you can see these are in the tensile strength in dry and wet for the basic, dry and wet for the fiberglass, and you can see, okay, it is stronger, but still not very strong, especially when it gets wet. When you use specific materials inside your filter, you will have a very high strength. And this confirms what has been said before. So it is important to use the right material, but it's also important to organize your filter upgrade in a correct way. And often when thinking of upgrading from F8, F9 level to E11 or E12, often power stations have the idea that they have to choose between filter efficiency and service life. Because they think, yeah, okay, if we capture more dust, our filters will last not as long as other filters, so it will be more expensive. That doesn't have to be like that. We have experienced otherwise. If done right, that means the right material and the right setup of filters, it even doesn't have to, you doesn't have to have a higher filter cost than before. I would like to say something more about the last graph on this slide, and there we have been testing, again, proving the filter, the media choice, how important it can be. What we did was kind of diesel fume test as shown before with different materials. And you can see the first is an E11 filter material, what we used. The differential pressure rose the more dust load we added. What is quite logical, there is fouling going on, so you get a higher differential pressure because of the dust collected in the filter. If we did the same with PTFE media, in the start it was better, a lower dP, but then there came a point where the differential pressure rose very quickly. And it is also shown before that this effect occurs. So what we did is, let's see what happens if we combine that E11 media with F8 media, and then we see this, that the differential pressure stays on a very, very low level. And that is how it works to get a long service life by using a combination of filter layers. Then you get this type of differential pressure, so your service life will extend much more. yes, and maybe the pictures here above, it explains a little bit why PTFE has that effect of being very, very favorable in differential pressure at the start, but having that rise at some moment. And that has to do with how the material is. This is, in fact, PTFE, where you can see that the dust particles are, in fact, captured in a two-dimensional membrane. It's like a sieve what keeps the particles away. Other types of filter media with layers or with a three-dimensional kind of filter material, there is space for many particles also in depth. So a PTFE filter works perfectly until it's filled up, and then it will go very quickly up, and that's what you see here. So it is very important to use the right combination of media. And that depends a lot of the efficiency of your filter, to which grade you would like to go with your filtration. It has to do with your GET air inlet flow, how much air will those filters have to deal with, and how much filters do you have available to deal with that amount of air. And so dust, what is in that air, and that has of course to do with the ambient dust load. Every place has another quality of air. That brings me to the graphs next to it. The basic of this graph comes from the new ISO standard for M-class, F-class filters, the ISO 18690, where they had several cases of dust load in many places of the world. And one of the cases was air in the Bangkok region. And we took that case because it is comparable to the air quality in this part of China. And you can see it's this graph. It's the light blue line. And there is two peaks in that line. One peak is here. That is the dust in the air, agricultural dust, all kind of dust, pollen. It can be particles between 5 and 10 microns. That's one peak. Another peak is very fine dust, salt, soot, other fine dust particles between 0.1 and 1 micron. And you can see that this is the G4, what's still left over after the G4 filter, and the G4 takes away all the porous dust. Then the F9 filter, it's to this line, brown-red. It takes away quite something of the fine dust. But there is still quite some fine dust left going to your compressor and attacking your efficiency. And it's about, we calculated, it's about 7% of the dust load what is still penetrating to your compressor. And often, by our competitors is said, save on filters, just put an F7 and an E10, that's only 2 layers, and you will have HEPA level and all your problems will be solved. But if, like you see in this graph, the F7 filters have to do a lot of work, a lot of dust to collect, so the service life will be shortened. Then they add an E10 filter. It's E-class filter, but the lowest level of efficiency for the E-class, instead of like an E11, what takes 95% of the most penetrating particles away, an E10 only takes 85% of the most penetrating particles away. So there is quite some dust still going to the compressor, about 2%. So the saving by losing still quite some efficiency of your compressor, it is a false saving. To our opinion, the best solution is to make a combination of a pre-filter, a fine filter, and a HEPA filter. Then you have the least dust through to your compressor, so your efficiency will stay on the highest level. And this will also optimize the service life of your filters, because which one is the most expensive filter? Many times more expensive than the other ones, that's the EPA filter. So it is key to protect that filter as much as you can from fouling. So first you take away the coarse dust with the G4 filter, then you take away the fine dust with the F8 filter, before only the very small particles reach your EPA filter. And that also solves a little bit the problem what was occurred with Mr. there from Camfil, with what happens with water still penetrating because of airflow and etc. If you have a pre-filter with good coalescent properties, the most of the water will be catched with that G4 pre-filter. If there might be some water still traveling through that pre-filter, there is still your F8 filter, and we only use pure synthetic F8 material, what will keep that rest water away, so your EPA filter is again perfectly protected. So this is the solution to keep also the service life and the quality of your EPA filter on the highest level. Okay, the last remark we get then is, oh my God, I would like to have this, but do I have to make changes to my filter house? Because my owners are not willing to invest in so big changes. So I think there is no need, in most cases, there is no need for changes to the filter house, however, to implement a 3-stage filtration system. And that's for cartridge type of filters, it's by combining. It's not by integrating in one media an F8 type and an E11 type of filtration. It's by first catching what has to be catched by an F8 layer and then letting the air go through the EPA filter. And this is the example how you can, what we show here for a cartridge type of filter. The air comes from outside to the inside, goes first to the F-class layer, and goes then to the E-class layer to go to the compressor. Then every filter has to do only its own work, and not, the combination is not bothered with dust what it is not designed for. So this is a system, and we have implemented it already in many, many power plants. Yes, and this is a case, what we did in the north of the United States. You can see here those combined filters as shown, and you can see that we make them in a way that there is as less as possible glue or other materials, so the media can be used as optimal as possible. And in this case, in this picture, there were M5 pocket filters in front as pre-filters. And the results are there. There is 8 megawatts of gains because of preventing offline washing, and more than 100,000 MMBTUs of fuel savings. No offline washing and no foul. And it is proven in their measurements. This is the efficiency of the plant, and this is the ambient temperature. This is the old situation, and you see that whatever temperature there is, the efficiency has always improved. And the same is for here, the output of the installation, also ambient temperature, and you can see in any temperature, the output is higher than before. This we do also for cassette types of filters, but then it works in a little bit different way. We can add stages, we can connect filters to each other, or we can even integrate, again like we did with the other, with the cartridge type of filters, we can integrate the 2 layers into one big filter. And there we have up to 54 square meters of media in one filter element. And also this we have applied many times in many power stations. This is a Siemens case, because often in Siemens plants there is made use of cassette type of filters. So also here the results are speaking for themselves. So to conclude, my last slide, upgrading to EPA filter makes a lot of sense, but it gives fuel savings, so CO2 savings, and in a world where carbon exhaust or carbon emitting taxes are coming, that's also important. It increases the output at the same time, so you save fuel and get more output. There's less risk of damage, a clean machine, a very short payback time, and very good service. Life guarantee what we can give you, if it is done in the right way and if it is done with the right materials. And that's the message I wanted to bring to you. Thank you.